Not bad. Obviously, we didn't shoot the ball great. We gotta make more perimeter shots. We didn't make as many as we're capable of. You can't make them all, but you got to make the ones that you can make, and we just didn't make enough. I thought we got stagnant on offense at times, in half court, which was a little disappointing. But when you got so many first-year guys, that kind of stuff's going to happen. And then defensively, they picked on our four-man. I thought Josh Gray, who we've practiced at the four before this week, I thought he had good moments defending on the perimeter. I didn't think he played as big and strong as he needs to play offensively to punish teams that play small. And that's everyone says, well, you got to play small. Well, you got to teach your bigs to defend on the perimeter. That's what we do. But then offensively, our bigs have to then punish smaller guys by getting on the glass and posting up and scoring through contact. And I didn't think him and Wildens were very good at that today. I thought Wildens played really hard but didn't play well. I thought Josh played well defensively but didn't play really strong offensively, and that's a challenge for Josh. No one's ever asked him to do that before. So he has good moments, and then he's got other moments that you sit there and you're like, how's that little skinny guy knock the ball away from him? He can't get it. That's his challenge. He's got to grow there. It's our job to help him grow. But and without AJ, who strained a muscle on his back yesterday in the weight room, I kind of figured going to this game, because I know Mozone and the way that Dave uses his fours, that this would be interesting, because now we got Josh, Woodley, and Benson, three freshmen, having to defend on the perimeter, which none of them ever had before they got till they met me. So long-winded opening statement, but that's basically the deal, what happened here today.
Frank, two things. Do you expect AJ back in practice or back for the weekend games?
I think so. It's just muscular. So it's he was really, he was really tight yesterday. He was a lot better today, but the decision was made to hold him out.
And I guess you guys, I think they jumped out to a 9-point lead, Upstate did, and you guys were able to claw your way back in with a 10-0 run. What did you kind of attribute that to? What did you guys do defensively that was really able to get you back into that and obviously jump out to a lead in that first half?
Yeah, they were attacking us through the four. So, what do I mean by that? Well, actually, Princeton plays the same way, so this is good that we were forced to do this today. So I'm asking our guards to deny. I'm asking our guards to be really aggressive. Not our guards, everybody. And then if our four doesn't do his job and allows their four-man to catch the ball on the three-point line facing the basket, then the guards that are denying are getting exposed. So now guys don't deny as aggressively. So now they can turn the ball side to side to side, and now you got to guard action, for lack of better words. And then they ran some like he ran Mozone off a triple screen over the top one time. Give Mozone credit. Woodley was a little late, but Mozone jumped up and made a shot. I mean, Stevenson and Reese didn't make a shot. It's Jermaine didn't. Jermaine made a three early, and then I don't think he hit the rim the rest of the game from the three-point line. And so give the kid credit. I mean, he made a couple tough shots, but they were attacking us through the four. That's where the beginning of the game. That's where it was going.
Woodley, the first guy off the bench for you guys, just what did you see out of him in practices lately that gave you that confidence, and what did you see out of him tonight?
Yeah, Taquan's really good. He was part of the whole not practicing for all these sniffles that we had going on the team, and so in the exhibition game, I just didn't want to not give him a uniform. I don't know if that's even proper English, but we did, and I threw him out there. Hadn't practiced, freshmen have to practice. They don't know the speed of the game. So when they don't practice, they're lost. But he came back and had really good practices leading into the game today. He's really good offensively. He's always been the guy that defends the other team's big guy. And he's got to learn how to defend on the perimeter. He's got to learn how to lock in. Most freshmen struggle on the defensive side of the floor, and that's where he's struggling at right now. But he's going to be a really good player.
Frank, we talk about guys trying to be able to develop chemistry, develop trust, especially when you have so many new faces. But as a coach, when you have so many new faces and you're still trying to figure that out, I mean, we use the word probably leash, but, how do you try to figure out how long to keep a guy in or, trying to sit back and let them play through it and learn, especially early on in the year?
I don't like guys that play casual. So as soon as I see them being casual, they're coming out. I like guys that are engaged and play to exhaustion. When they get tired, all they got to do is call for a sub. They call for a sub, I'll put someone in. As soon as they're ready, you can go back in. It's always been my substitution pattern when I have enough bodies. And what I've got to learn with all these new guys is like for example, Stevenson today couldn't make a shot. When did I take him out? At the end there, when he finally made his one shot. See what I'm saying? I didn't want to take him out when he was missing shots. I don't want him to get in his own head. So I waited till he made one, then I took him out. But I got to figure all that out. That's the good thing is that I think we're really deep. I think, sometimes you go to your bench and you lose. Jacoby's going to keep getting better. I thought Jacoby played really well in the exhibition, practiced really well in the exhibition. I thought he practiced well through the weekend, and then yesterday at practice he wasn't bad. He was just kind of sloppy. And I thought he played that way today. But Jacoby's going to be okay. Chico's going to be okay. Devin's going to be okay. We've got a lot of people that we can put out there. So my biggest thing is understanding when I take guys out for being casual, I don't care if they get in their head. That's their problem. Don't be casual. But when I make decisions as sub, that I make them at times where they don't think that they're in the wrong. I don't know if that answers your question, Mike.
Jermaine has obviously missed a lot of time. What did you see out of him tonight, especially kind of taking over that point guard role? Did it take him a minute to kind of get up to speed?
He played like a guy that missed 2 weeks. Some of his decision-making was a little off. I thought he played aggressively at times, and then I thought he played like a guy that maybe a little winded. That's why I kept kind of taking him out of there. But before, it's kind of funny because he missed 4 days when he had his 4 wisdom teeth pulled, I think 3 or 4 days. Then he came back and practiced 3 or 4 times and then pulls his hamstring. So pretty much, and that was 2 weeks. So in the last 3 weeks, I think he's got 3 practices in, and they were all at the beginning of the 3-week period. So before he had his wisdom teeth pulled, him, James, and Eric had built unbelievable chemistry with understanding how to play with each other. So Jermaine's going to be fine. Jermaine's in a good place this year, spiritually, mentally. He's got to get his wind back, and he's got to get the timing of the game back.
Hey, Frank, with those perimeter shooting issues, how much of that do you just chalk up to it being a night where they weren't falling, and then how much of it is something that needs to be addressed and looked at in practice this week?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Chico's a 40% career, 40% three-point shooter. Eric Stevenson is the one thing I told him is that unlike a couple of years of his first 3 in college, I'm not going to let him go into a doldrum because he has a bad shooting game that becomes a bad shooting week. He's going to be fine. James Reese is a career 7% three-point shooter. Those guys are going to make shots. I'm not worried about those guys. Devin Carter is a shot maker. He's got to learn. Devin wants to go score at the rim every time he touches the ball. And what he's going to learn is that in college, it's not high school. The guy's not 6'1", and they don't get out of the way. So he's got to learn. But I've been begging guys to drive the ball for the last 3 years. We haven't had a guy drive the ball since Darius Thornwell was here. And so I've been begging guys to drive the ball. He's going to drive the ball. So we're going to learn as he learns. But you know, we Jacoby can shoot it. We got. I'm not worried about that. Now, if we're talking about Wildens, Levesque, and Josh Gray shooting the threes today, then you know, then they should send me to detention tomorrow morning. You know, it's Phil. You remember when they used to give detentions when we were in school back in the day? Indoor suspension. Yeah, I got there. If we miss a layup in layup lines, they paddled us right in front of everybody. Yeah. Was that your ADD medicine back then? Yes. Yeah. You hear the wind. Bah! Those.
I don't know if I can follow up on that. I know it's only game one. You don't have Keyshawn, you don't have AJ. But what will the process be like over the next 3 to 5 weeks to figure out which guys really play connected together on the floor and which rotations work best? Like, how does that process work over these next 3 to 5 weeks?
Well, we had been pretty lucky with injuries. So in practice, we had figured out a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you know, Jermaine gets a hamstring, and then we get the strep throat, and now AJ with the back. So we've had some inconsistencies in practices for the last 2 weeks. You just got to hope that we stay. Think back to the Final Four year. Everyone's running around saying, "Oh, they're not playing good. They're blah 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 blah." Well, we developed a certain way in preseason and early in the game. Then I got a suspension Darius. And we had to people had to adapt their roles while he was suspended. Then I lose PJ to the neck. Then I lose Rolf Felder to a knee. I lose Asani Gravett to mono. And we're right in the middle of the thing. And we're trying to figure out how to adapt roles right in the middle of the season. And we fought and fought and fought and won enough. We lost a couple of hard games. But we all became better, and that's the way we got to use the season. You got to win the games. The season teaches your team to win or lose. The season teaches your coach how to understand your team. And while you're doing all that, you got to win games. And you know, it is what it is. It's I like these guys. These guys are, you know, they aggravate me, but in a good way. You know, it's. Yeah. Pow! Ooh, that hurt.
Oh.
I was ADD, ADHD, APB, CBA, ACC. You name the letters, they put them on me. That paddle got me right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I used to have to pick up a chair. They used to make you pick up a chair so your butt cheeks would get tighter.
Ooh,
Really
they didn't do
feel
that
it,
one
yeah.
to me. That guy was still alive. I'd go hug him. Hey, he didn't do that to me. Jesus.
So my question is, now that you played the first official game of this season, you closed the book totally on last year. So how does it feel to you to, really put last year, the COVID issues and everything else behind you, and to coach the first real game with your son in uniform?
Anything I say has nothing to do with last year's players. I couldn't do my job. And I've been able to do my job this year in the summer and in the preseason. I think our team reflects a team that's coached by me a lot better than last year's team reflected. And you can just use the 8 years before last year as evidence as to what my teams play like. So last year was really complicated for me personally and professionally. I'm at peace right now. And I'm in a really good place. And these players that came in here with this it started in recruiting. When you call James Reese and he's a starter for a conference championship team and he's a starting player for an NCAA tournament second round team, and his first words out of his mouth is always my dream to play there and play for you. And then you called Eric Stevenson, he basically says the same thing. And A.J. Wilson, the first time I called A.J., he was ready to commit on the phone. I had to say, yo, slow down, man, slow down. These guys, they help me a lot to get me to a place of peace. And the way we approach the thing every day, we get to a place of peace. And, and my son, I mean, while Keyshawn is out, he brings a sense of toughness and rebounding that can help our team. He was bad at shoot around today. I've got to get to a place where I'm comfortable throwing him out there. But I'm really proud of him. I had worries about coaching him because we're different. We got the same heart, but we're different as people. And I didn't know how that was going to mix. But he's been tremendous. His teammates have been good to him, and he's been real good to his teammates, and he's been a champ. I'm really proud of him.
You kind of just touched on this, but Dave Dickerson was saying that it felt like Frank Martin basketball tonight as far as you guys, out rebounding, scoring in the paint, all of that. Did it feel that way to you, or how close is this team to kind of playing your brand of basketball that you want to play?
Yeah, these guys want to play it. These guys are excited about doing it. I'm excited about coaching it. This team feeds off my passion. When we're in practice and I get geeked up, there's Eric Stevenson gets in it. I'm gonna give you a cheat sheet. You might want to ask Jermaine and Keyshawn how much they enjoy having those guys as teammates. Those guys, they bring a resolve into practice every day. Wildens is a great kid. I was so mad at him today because he could have had 25, 26 points. He's worked so hard, but he just couldn't get at peace with the angle to just catch the ball and score it. He kept missing shots. But he's going to be great. Josh Gray's a good dude. He just has to learn to accept responsibility. So I'm really enjoying these guys. Does that mean we're going to win 26 and set a new school record for wins? I got no idea. I don't worry about those things. But I don't get out of bed and come into practice and I'm ready to go every day, and they have a lot to do with that.
Mentioned obviously the offense stagnating at times tonight. What were some of the contributing factors to the stagnation a little bit? I know you mentioned the newcomers being part of that. What was it like for that? And when the offense was clicking, what did you see there that really made it click at times tonight?
What made us stagnant was we started. First of all, when you start making shots, good shots. That's why I say I was being sarcastic, which I'm pretty good at sometimes, about Josh Gray and Wilden shooting the threes. When your guys that are supposed to make shots, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So now the defense has to play a certain way. And we couldn't make enough, and then it makes your team feel better. So, for example, one of the things that made us stagnant, people know Eric can shoot. People know James can shoot. So they're going to chase them off screens, and now the floor is going to open up. We kept trying to throw the ball in there to Josh Gray. And Josh kept allowing that guy to come over his shoulder and knock the ball loose. That can't happen. So now what happens? You do that 2 times, now Jermaine comes down and he's like, I'm not throwing him the ball. And he's not being a bad teammate, but so now he can't pass it to him because he's guarded, can't pass it to him because he's guarded, and now it's too late to drive the ball because the defense reset. So now you get stagnant. And that's some of the things that we have to do. Just as coaches have to earn the trust of players and players have to earn the trust of coaches, same thing goes player to player when they're in the middle of a game, especially a young player with an older player. Like Sindarius, that shot Mike Kotsar made against Florida where he's the trail? Sindarius would not pass the ball to Mike because he didn't trust Mike as a freshman can score. But he did that play and Mike made the shot. But that's the stuff that goes on with players, man. It's and that's where we got. And then our point guard play right now. Good flowing offenses. The ball goes in the basket. Point guard plays good. Jermaine was sluggish today. He wasn't great. He was good, wasn't great. Jacoby and Chico are trying to learn how they got to play here. Jacoby in college, Chico here, to give us consistency at the point guard spot.
I know your admiration for Dave Dickerson. What was that conversation like at the end, and what were Brandon's emotions like coming into the game? Do you think that could have attributed to his poor walkthrough this morning?
Yeah, Brandon was really nervous, man. I think that's why his shoot around today, he wasn't as good as he was in practice last couple of days. Like, he was like just disconnected his shoot around today. You got to understand, he had his mother and 3 of our closest friends and his aunt, and then his sister and 2 brothers, along with his cousin from his mother's side here. Then he's got Anya, my wife, and our kids, and my mom, and my uncle, some other people that are dear friends of ours from Miami that are in town. He was a little nervous, and he didn't tell me, and I'd never said anything to him about it, but I know the deal. And so I think I really, in my heart, you would ask me back in September, I didn't have an answer for you. In my heart, he's going to help us this year. I know he's going to help us. That's the kind of trust that he's earned from me right now. Today was a hard day for him because of so many people that were here. And but you asked me something else. What was it? Oh, Dave. Dave's a stud. I told Dave. It's been hard, man. I'm not going to speak on his personal stuff. It's not my place to do that. But last year was really, really hard on him, and he had. I said this the other day. I'm gonna say it again. The hardest thing for certain, for people, is to get a Division I head coaching job. There's only 350 of them, and he got one at Tulane. And shortly after getting the job, they get displaced with the hurricane, and now he's got to build a program from scratch while not having a home. And he got it to 21 wins. Like, he was that close from turning the corner, and whoever he answered to at the time gave up on him, which I thought was one of the biggest jokes in the history of this business. And then he goes back and gets his feet back underneath him, and now he gets Upstate. And, the interim AD at Upstate at the time is a guy that I think we all know, and Jeff Crane. And so the hire's made. And he worked it's back from scratch again. And now he works his tail off, and he's got it that close to turning it 2 years ago, that close. And COVID hits. And, he's got some family stuff that obviously made it hard on him coaching the team last year. And just like me, just like us, their team was crushed with COVID. And it was hard to get it right. Dave's a winner. Dave's one of the great human beings and really good basketball coaches in the country. And it's no surprise. He goes to Ohio State, they go to Final Fours. He's in Maryland, they go to national championship and win it. It's no surprise. It follows him. It's who he is to his core. And he all I told him is, be at peace. You got a good team. I'm not going to tell you what he said, but I said, you got a good team. You got a good team. You're going to be all right. Appreciate it.